Hello and welcome to The Marketplace with me, Luqman Hariz, a show where we search for the hidden gems of the Bursa Malaysia, the mid and small cap companies. Today we talk to Cck Consolidated Holdings Berhad. Its Group Managing Director John Tiong joins me. Established in 1996, Cck Consolidated Holdings Berhad was listed on the second board of the Kuala Lumpur Stock Exchange in 1997. The company, whose principal businesses are poultry, seafood, trading and transportation, has an integrated supply chain which consists of breeder, hatchery and boiler farms. Today, CCK's product base spans from raw poultry and seafood to processed food such as fish balls, crab sticks and mixed vegetables. The group operates 40 stores, trading departments and factories throughout the country. Its products are exported to countries like Australia, Hong Kong, Japan, Dubai, Vietnam and Indonesia. Cck Consolidated Group Managing Director John Tiong, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
You've been around since 1996. Share with us, how has the journey been for the group?
The group for the last 20 years, we have been steadily expanding our retail network. From 10 to the present of 51 retail networks supported by 7 wholesale centers.
I want to go to some recent news. Recently, unfortunately, a fire broke out at one of your factories belonging to one of your subsidiaries, which is CS Choice. Shares dipped slightly after this incident. What other financial impacts did you go through as a result of this fire, and any material impacts towards the company and the group?
The fire actually started at one of the fishbowl processing session of the factory. Unfortunately, because of that, we have to stop production for the food processing for CS Choice.
Yep.
It is not material because the contribution from CS Choice on a monthly basis is actually under $1 million in revenue. So it is not material, whilst we would continue to put in our best endeavor to bring the production up running in 1 to 2 months' time.
Exactly, but there's also forward revenue there. That was going to lead to my next question. As a result of the fire, the repair works that you have to do, right, will halt production in this particular factory for about a maximum couple of months. So yes, what sort of financial impacts is that going to bring you?
As I said earlier, the turnover for this particular factory is under $1 million, whereas CCK as a whole, our turnover for quarterly is about 150 million. So it's quite insignificant in that. So
nevertheless, are you doing something especially financially to mitigate the potential, not the potential, but future losses from this production halt? We
are trying to bring the production up and running in shortest of time, which is 1 to 2 months' time. Yeah, so I think with that, we'll be able to withstand any financial impact if there is. Yeah.
Will the production be moved to another facility in the time being, if possible?
Not really, because it is meat processing. It is not our slaughtering house. Yeah, so it is not the main factories. It is just one of the subsidiaries.
Is it the only factory of such facilities that you have? Do you have similar facilities in other plants that you can migrate the production to?
Not for fishbowl production.
Right. And still about the fire, a report as recent as July 26 said that the board was unable to ascertain the cause of the fire. What does this mean, John?
At that time, during the reporting time, because the Bomba is still investigating the incidents, so at that time we could not able to put a cause to it. But now we know that it is the burner that is an accident that happened with the burner of the fish oil production.
Yeah. Right. Let's move on to more macro stuff. You know, bar the current slowdown, recently we've been seeing a rise in inflation, with the rise in food prices contributing to it. You, of course, is are a major player in the food industry and processed food and also poultry. Do you think this recent rise in inflation, in particular the increase in food prices, will in any way affect sentiment towards the buying of food products that you rely your business on?
Sure. I think because of inflation, it does affect the sentiments of the consumers. However, we are actually providing a necessities to the market, which is chickens and or other foodstuff. So it is not really that easily replaceable by other type of foodstuff. Yeah, so I think with that, as you can see from our quarterly reports, the turnover actually improved, even though we know that the sentiment in the market is actually quite weak.
Now, we've got hundreds of poultry providers here in Malaysia. What do you think sets CCK apart from all the others?
We consider ourselves to be an integrated retail chain store, supported by the upstream, which is our own hatcheries, parent stocks and farmings and abattoir. So we are not purely a poultry company, but we are a retail company. So supported by all the upstream facilities, so that we'll be able to compete in the market.
Talking about upstream facilities, a lot of major grocery chains, so to say, are embracing digitalization, you know, making things like ordering from home, ordering your groceries from home possible. CCK has not done that yet. Why? And do you think this is important for you to do in the near future?
We operate mainly in East Malaysia and West Kalimantan because of the size of the geographical size and the concentration of population in a place is not dense enough. So I think in the near terms, we don't foresee that the market will turn to delivery service as yet. And also it is not that cost effective to actually do home delivery at this moment in time for us, at least for us, CCK.
All right, we'll come back with John Tiong, Group Managing Director of Cck Consolidated Holdings. The Marketplace will be right back. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back to the Marketplace with me, Luqman Hariz. I've been speaking to John Tiong. He's the Group MD of Cck Consolidated Holdings Berhad. Now, John, for the break, we talked about some major grocery operators or grocery chains increasing their online presence, making available services like ordering your groceries online, and you have not yet done this. Do you think this puts you in some sort of a disadvantage with the likes of Tesco and chains that do that?
Right. We are actually operating in East Malaysia, and we are the market leaders in East Malaysia in terms of retailing of fresh and frozen products. At this moment in time, we don't see the need to do home delivery for fresh and frozen products at this moment in time. So in time to come, I think it is unavoidable that one day we should be looking at this also, but for the foreseeable future, I don't see that there's a need for it.
In your field, poultry and just the processing of food, obviously QC, hygiene, quality control is paramount.
Sure.
Even in regions as advanced as the EU, we are seeing, an exposure of instances where big food processors use contaminated eggs, use prohibited insecticide, and this recent incident has also even spread to Asia and to Hong Kong. Do you think the laws are in place and the enforcement is in place in Malaysia to ensure that this will never happen with our food processing companies such as yourself?
I have full confidence in the authority of Malaysian government to able to control and to enforce the law that governs the country. However, for CCK, we source all our eggs from our own layer farm. So that's why we are confident that this contamination of eggs will not happen in our farm, because we monitor our farm closely and we do have biosecurity for our farms.
You have 40 stores nationwide.
51 presently.
51
Yes.
as of now.
That's right.
And you have facilities like breeder, hatchery and boiler farms. You have products from fish balls to poultry to crab sticks. how do you ensure all your production is sustainable and environmental friendly?
We do, with the production from our own factories and our own upstream, we do make sure that strict laws are being compliant to. And whereas with the third-party products that we bring in from places like Australia, New Zealand, and China, we do regular visits to the suppliers. That our buyers actually go to our suppliers and to actually work with the suppliers to be able to have confidence that our suppliers actually give us the best of quality.
All right, I want to go into financials. Some reports, recent reports say that downside risks to your financials include the cost of feedstock, which is denominated in the US dollar, and it makes up about 70% of your poultry segment's total cost. Although ringgit has been strengthening against the greenback, it still remains volatile and exposed moving forward. So having quite a significant reliance on the USD, are you well shielded against this volatility?
Yes, the poultry segment of CCK only contribute about 20% to our P&L. So only 20% of that will be actually subject to the fluctuation in exchange rate and as well as in the feed cost. Whereas the 70% of the net profit actually comes from our retail chain stores. So that we are only subject to 20% are subject to the fluctuation.
Nevertheless, are you hedging in any way?
We are not hedging it because I think a lot of times we'll be able to cushion it by our operations in our retail arms.
You expressed your desire to focus on a few priorities, including not going online yet at the moment, and in focusing on East Malaysia and also Kalimantan.
Sure.
But any plans in the future to diversify beyond the food sector, F&B industry, to diversify and make your revenue stream more resilient?
We have a vision. Our vision is to be the food people of choice. So with that vision, we're going to stay in this food industry, and we're going to be the best at what we can be in the food industry. So we are not going to diverse into outside of the food F&B industry.
What can your shareholders expect moving forward? How do you look to continue maximizing value for all your shareholders?
We're going to improve our operations, especially in our retail, and we try to have pricing strategies and as well as new markets penetrations. And also we are not how should I say?
Limited.
We are not limited just to the food retail. There are other, as long as there are retail in food, it can be restaurants, it can be other segment of the retail business that we can actually venture into.
Thank you so much, John Tiong, Group Managing Director of Cck Consolidated Holdings Berhad. And that's it for this episode of The Marketplace. Send us all your feedback on all our social media platforms, Facebook, Twitter and Instagram at 501 Awani. Download our apps, you can see, available on Google Play and also the Apple App Store. And don't forget, listen to this interview on your podcast. Simply search for Astro Awani or The Marketplace wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Luqman Hariz. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day.